Welcome to the Empowered Team podcast. I'm so excited to have you in this new year. I bet you are diving into all of those actions that are going to get you towards your goals. So today I'm going to give you some info that I think can really help you go for what you want to go for instead of going for something that's not actually your goal. We're talking about false proxies today. We don't want to go into false proxies. We want to stop chasing the wrong goals and actually go for the right goals. Now, if you've heard of false proxies, you've probably heard of a false proxy in something like business metrics, KPIs. So I'm going to tell you what they are. First, I want you to really understand this. If you've been so focused on hitting a goal that you've lost sight of why you were chasing it in the first place. Why? Because you're chasing something that's associated with the goal, maybe a job title, maybe social media followings, maybe a certain number coming off on the scale. But those can be false proxies because the real thing that you really want isn't that. It's not a number of social media followers. It's not a certain number on a scale. It's not a certain job title. It's a experience of life, a feeling, a value, some other thing that you're actually going for. So false proxies can become a real problem when we're chasing the thing that's not the real thing that we want. So I'm going to give you a definition. I'm going to give you the risks of false proxies, and I am going to give you some of the ways to avoid false proxies so that you are actually going for what you really, really want in life. Ready? Buckle up. Let's do it, because this is going to support you in getting what you really want this year versus chasing some things that aren't so appealing. All right, let's go. We want to know what they are, why do they trap us, how they show up in our personal lives and careers and relationships, and simple ways to break free from the trap that false proxies suck us into. So what's the definition? Here's the definition. The definition of a false proxy is basically something really easy to measure. It's quantitative, seemingly objective. It's a measure that inaccurately reflects what the truth is. It sends our efforts in the wrong direction. So I like to say that numbers don't lie, they don't tell the whole story. However, they don't tell the whole story. And that's basically it. Numbers don't lie, but if we're looking at the wrong numbers, we're discerning a story that isn't accurate, and then the story isn't what we're actually after. So a false proxy is a stand-in for success that looks good on the surface, but doesn't actually measure what you really care about, what you're actually after. So the low-hanging fruit here, the easiest example is fitness. This is where somebody's chasing a number on the scale, whether they're looking to gain weight or looking to lose weight, when in actuality, they want something else. They want to feel more energetic. They want to feel stronger. They want to have great health metrics overall, like glowing skin and deep sleep and things like that. But the number on the scale is the false proxy. They're looking at that to tell them that they have these other things and it might not be there. Now, do I think the number on the scale is not worthy of measuring? Of course it's worthy of measuring. It can be something that's very valuable feedback in the journey, in the process. However, that's not the goal. People will make it the goal, and it's not the real goal. It's a false proxy. Most people aren't looking for a magic number on the scale. They're looking for a feeling. They're looking for a health metric. They're looking for a strength metric. So that's where it can be very misleading. Career, same types of things. We got KPIs till the cows come home. However, McKinsey has done studies to see that some of the KPIs, there can be as much as 70% of KPIs that are measuring things that don't really matter to the company. So we're measuring success by certain numbers that aren't indicative of what the business is about. Or we can be chasing a job title or a specific salary, but that's not correlating with the kind of fulfillment that we want in life or the kind of impact that we really want in life. So when we understand this and we can discern these false proxies, we can have more of what we really want in life. Relationships, same thing. People get caught up in milestones like getting married or having children or being married for a certain amount of time. And the reality is that they might be looking at that as a false proxy because so many other people are getting married, or lots of my friends are having kids. But really asking and really checking in, is that what really aligns with what I want in my life? That's the proxy we're looking for. We're looking for what's aligned with what we truly value, what we truly see as the vision of our lives, not just what everyone else is doing because it's a certain age or a certain time. So there's some great work around this that Daniel Kahneman has done, and he has this thing that's called "What You See Is All There Is." And it's a bias. What you see is all there is. This bias is that when we see something and then we believe that these numbers are all there is, then it really limits us in being able to understand the full complexity of what we're interested in or the goal that we're after. So then what we do is what we see is all there is, we just measure the easiest thing that we're able to get numbers. Now sometimes the easy measures we do want and they are useful. However, when we're leaning on this bias of going for the easy numbers, the easy quantifiable measures, then we're often missing what's really important in the business, in our relationships, or in our lives. So let's really take a look at the top 3 risks of chasing false proxies. And then we're going to head into some ways to avoid it and go for what we really want. So number one big risk is you waste your time on the wrong goals, baby. We don't want to waste our time on the wrong goals. This is the person who, and I've unfortunately seen this too many times, but let's say the person who has spent years going for a particular career goal. They're climbing that corporate ladder, they're going for that title or that salary, and then they get there. And they realize they're not so happy there. They thought that proxy of the title or the salary was going to feel a certain way, but what they really wanted is to feel that certain way. And it's not that title and it's not that salary that actually provides that. So that can be a real awful thing when you realize you've spent years, months, weeks, years even, chasing something that wasn't the goal you actually wanted. So in life, if we're looking at life, it's really important to check in and ask yourself before going for any goal. And we're in this process right now with our mastermind, our empowered team mastermind. We are creating our empowered blueprint. It is taking planning. We are doing all the planning, all the tough decisions ahead of time to ask these types of questions. If this is my goal, why do I want this? What am I thinking my life is going to be like once I get this goal? Why is this goal important to me? I had a client recently who kept saying they want to make more money, but the money wasn't the most important thing to them. What we realized by asking these deeper questions, well, why do I want this money? It's providership. It's the feeling of being able to provide for their family. That's what was important to them. The feeling of having success with finances wasn't about the money. It was about the ability to provide for the family. And then that opened up when they could see that their goal was more about providership and being able to serve their family. That opened up the ability to provide in other ways before money was the only way to provide. Provide with emotional support, provide with time and attention, provide in other ways to be a provider in the meantime while they were earning that money. So they don't just go and earn that money and realize, oh, wait a second, what I really wanted was to show up for my family and be there for them. And I was using money as the way to do that. So don't waste your time on chasing the wrong goals. And by doing this, clarify, why do I want this goal? Why is this important to me? What will this mean to me and my life and the people I care about? Make sure that you're not spending all this time because it's a societal expectation or someone else's definition of success. So that's risk number one, wasting your time on the wrong goals, baby. All right, second big risk is you miss what really matters. So in this example I've just given, you can see how that's the case. So I'll give another example. Social media influencers are often looking at likes, comments, followers. And when you look at likes, comments, followers, that can be awesome. They can be something that feeds into a business, but oftentimes it's not the thing they want. They're missing out on the real engagement or the meaningful work that they really, really want. So then the question becomes something else. What are you optimizing for in your life right now? Are you focusing on something that's numerically based, like a salary, like a weight, like numbers of followers, like a number of clients? Are you focusing on something that doesn't actually bring joy? For instance, in a business, how is customer satisfaction being measured? Instead of number of customers, how about customer satisfaction? How about quality of service? There are other numbers that are a little harder to measure, and that's one of the reasons why we don't look at those proxies, because they're a little more challenging and we're going for the low-hanging fruit, and we figure it's still going to give us the outcome that we want of satisfied customers or authentic engagement. So the false proxies suck us into a trap of potentially missing what really matters. Why are we in this business? Why do we do what we do? What really matters to why we're putting something out on social media, for instance? What really matters as to why we're looking to earn that salary? These are the questions. We want to know what really matters and not let a number, a false quantitative number, pull us away from what the meaningful, the real thing is. All right, so the next risk, the third one, is you end up feeling really unfulfilled even when you win. So you've gone and you've chased this thing, you've gotten the salary, and I gave this example somewhat earlier, but I'm going to go into it a little bit more. You get there, you ran the marathon to prove to everybody that you could, you crossed the finish line, felt good for 30 seconds tops, and then you're like, wow, all right, I proved it to them that I could, but did they even really care? Or I worked this corporate ladder for 20 years, and these are words from a client I had a few years ago, and then I felt trapped because they were so conditioned to want the money and the title that I gave them a term and they nodded their head really strongly. I said, do you feel like you've got the golden handcuffs? Yep. And that term I learned from people I worked with in the RCMP and high levels, high ranks in the police force, like homicide inspectors. And the golden handcuffs were a common term in that they were exhausted, burnt out, weren't fulfilled by the role anymore, and yet they kept on, because if they kept on for another 5 years, they would then have the pension. If they kept on for just a little bit longer, they would have reached a certain pay grade. And that was the term golden handcuffs. And yet there they were, going into that particular career, looking to serve other people, excited by what they were going to be able to contribute, excited by the differences in the roles and the job that they could provide, and coming out of it going, okay, I'm just slogging through another couple years because I want the money and I don't have any of the fulfillment yet left. I feel broken. So you finally reach the thing you really wanted, that title, that particular salary, and there's unfulfillment at the end of that road. Unfulfilled, even though they technically won by the measure of those proxies. So those are some really, really solid risks. Wasting your time, chasing the wrong goals, missing out on what really matters, and then at the end, achieving the goal, but feeling empty, feeling unfulfilled. So now let's look into 3 ways to stop chasing the false proxies, how you can mitigate this ahead of time. And the reason I think this is so important right now is because people are neck deep in action toward their goals, or failing towards their goals, away from their goals, or restarting for their goals. Usually at this time of year, people are really into their goals, and whether they're having success or they're falling off and getting back on the horse again, whatever it looks like. So we don't want your false proxies to be holding you back from your real goals. So what does this look like? Number 1, define what really matters to you. I do this minimally once a year with my clients and our mastermind. Define what really matters to you. And I do this via values. We explore our personal values. With companies, we want to explore what the company core values are. We want to explore what the front-facing company core values are and the difference between what the internal core values are. So define what matters to you. These are going to be your values. These are going to be your mission statements, your purpose in life. What does that look like? So start with a question that, if you are successful in this particular goal, what does it look like for me? When I get there, how do I want to feel? So instead of, I'm going to use the weight again. Instead of saying, I want to lose 10 pounds, you start with, I want to feel stronger and have more energy. And like I've indicated before, if someone came to me and said, my goal is to feel stronger and have more energy, I would say, well, we need to get more clear and we need to have it measurable. And then they would say, well, okay, then I want to lose 10 pounds. And then at that point, I'd be like, well, no, that is measurable, but let's back up a second. Why? What does it look like for you to feel stronger? How will you know that you are stronger? How will you know that you feel stronger and that you have more energy? So then they start getting into something that's harder to measure, but it's not a false proxy. Something like, well, I would know I was stronger if I could move the big jug of water that we get every week. I would know if I was stronger if I could do a full chin up, one full pulling my chin above the bar unassisted. I would know I'm definitely stronger because I can't do it without a spot. I can't do it without a band. I would know I have more energy if I woke up in the morning and I didn't feel like I needed another hour sleep. I would know I have more energy if I could keep up with my 20-year-old child. I would know I have more energy if I felt like my energy was sustaining all through the day instead of having serious dips in the morning and again in the afternoon. So now you've got some measures that are very different. Now it's called a metric of 1 chin-up or a metric of 5 push-ups. And that might be a milestone to getting to the place of feeling stronger and allowing yourself to feel stronger through the process, not just at the end. So now there's more distinction, more clarity, and not relying on feeling stronger by looking at a pound loss on the scale that has nothing to do with what the person really wants. So define what really matters to you. What is important to you? What does it look like? And then find the metrics that support that. So next one is going to support what I just said. Number 2, use a combination of metrics. Don't rely just on one metric. Find the combination of metrics that you're going to follow. It's going to help you discern which metrics are most important. It's going to help you figure out what what are the metrics that do really matter the most? So you're not just going to look in a career, for instance, at just salary, but you're also going to look at your work-life balance. Am I able to get home to my family on time? Am I able to travel? Am I able to go on trips? My daughter just went on a trip of a lifetime. And by her choices, her career choices, making a career move, it's allowed her to take holidays that she wouldn't have been able to take. She not only got a holiday at Christmas, but then she's got a bucket list trip to Japan with her significant other. Amazing, because she's clearly defined that yes, my career is important. Not only that, doing a career that fulfills me is important. Not only that, doing a career that allows me to have vacation and pays me enough money to afford vacation is important. So she's gotten clearer and clearer and able to measure the things that matter to her, not just, do I have a job? Is it paying X amount? No, that's why she left her last role and transitioned to a new role. So track things like energy levels, sleep quality, how your clothes fit if you're in the realm of health. Track how you feel fulfilled at work, your work-life balance, whether you're able to have some of the other things in life by your career. Track happiness. What does that look like? If happiness is a goal, I would again say, well, how do we measure that? Then what are the metrics that you would use to track happiness or relationship success? Then it looks like, how many times did me and my partner laugh together in a day? Are we laughing at least once a day where we're really laughing together? It's fun, it's funny. Okay, if that's the metric, laughing together, how do we make that happen? And then you start taking different actions and measuring different things than the typical metrics of do we still have a marriage? Something like that. How much time am I spending with loved ones? That might be a happiness metric. How much time am I spending outdoors? How many creative projects or hobbies do I commit my time to? Those might be metrics for happiness. Get creative with those metrics. Use a combination of metrics. That's number 2. All right, number 3, check your progress regularly. Don't assume that continuing. Yes, I believe consistency is key. Consistency is one of the most important things in being able to get to where you want to go. Not quitting is one of the most important things to get where you want to go. However, if you're not quitting on the metrics that aren't working, then you're wasting your time. So we want to check progress and make sure that we understand which metrics are giving us the feedback we need, and do we need to evolve our metrics? Do we need to add different metrics, take away metrics, or expand how we're measuring something so that we can go, okay, this is important. I'm measuring the right things. What you measured success on 5 years ago is probably very different from what you measure success on today. So make sure that you are evolving that. One of the ways that we do that is by analyzing or assessing what our values are every year. I don't assume that my values are going to be the same next year as they are this year. Why? Because I change, I evolve, I have new challenges and new experiences in life that have me grow. So I want to check in. Am I chasing the right things based on who I am now? What really matters to me now? So check your progress with your metrics. Allow them to evolve. Don't let them be set in stone. So one of the things you can do is schedule not an annual review. Most of you know that we've just done our year reflection at the end of 2024. However, don't leave it for a full year. Check in monthly or quarterly. Do a personal review. How fulfilled am I? Why am I feeling such great fulfillment right now? Oh my goodness, I added outdoor hikes every week, and that's one of the things that have contributed to my fulfillment, and I never would have known if I hadn't done that quick check-in. I'm so fulfilled now in this season of my life. So evolve. Let your metrics evolve. Let your metrics change. Optimize for what aligns with your values. What false proxies might I be chasing right now? All right, so what are your goals right now? Are they really meaningful to you? Why do they matter to you? What metrics are you using to measure those goals? And what metrics reflect what you really care about? Not just what might look good towards the goal, but what you really care about. We know we're in a time of quiet quitting. I gave this example of my daughter being in the career that she is, but there's many people in her generation who are just kind of not fully into the hustle culture like older generations might have been. They realize more and more of what matters to them, and they're not willing to make some of the mistakes that previous generations have. So what I would encourage you to do on this particular topic is a quick review. What are the risks? So you can identify whether it's happening for you. Are you wasting your time on the wrong goals? Are you missing what really matters? Has this happened to you? Are you feeling unfulfilled even though you made your goal? Well, what's going to check for that? What's going to prevent that? Defining what really matters to you. Rechecking in on your values. Even if you did your values a year ago, renew them. Assess them, reorder them, find what the real values are to you now. Use a combination of metrics. Don't just go with the low-hanging fruit, the easiest one to measure. You're going to go with what really measures what you really want. And then check your progress regularly. This is important. Keep looking into what is actually having you feel like you're making a difference. So the last thing I would ask of you is think about one area in your life and take a look at if there's a false proxy, if there's a false measure that's quantifiable, that's super easy to measure, and it's just not the thing that's fulfilling to you. Find another measure that's actually measuring what you really want in that area of life, whether it's your personal health, whether it's your career, whether it's in your relationships. Find what really measures what matters to you. If you want more resources on something like this, McKinsey does a lot of research in this area. Another one is The Power of Habit, and this is an author, Charles Duhigg. Another one I love is James Clear and Atomic Habits. It's a very easy read, and it's really good, packed with research-based insights. Daniel Kahneman is What You See Is All There Is. That's a concept and a bias that might be interesting to you. But the big takeaway here is that these false proxies will show up in any area of your life. Now that you have more awareness of it, look for them. Look for them. Find the things that you really shouldn't be chasing. Find what really matters to you. All right. That is today's episode. I hope it serves you in your goals for this year and serves you today just in understanding what are you doing that really matters? What are you measuring that really matters? What is really important to you? And you keep going for that so you can live your best life, your most empowered life. So keep taking care of yourself, taking care of others. Keep taking action and keep being up to something greater than yourself because you are empowered. Go get it. Happy Monday and have a great rest of your week.